Welcome, Sanya Ristic. Or Ristic. How you
Thank you.
doing?
Yeah, I'm noticing excitement. I'm buzzing a little bit in anticipation of what might come through on the
Yeah.
call.
Well, I had this idea in we did a Surrender Leadership Week, and it was a really emergent group. Like we went into kind of some kind of love bubble as a collective or something. But I remember being on the dance floor with you. We were dancing together and seeing each other and having fun, but also there being connection. And I was like, oh, I want to do a podcast with Sanya. And and it came from that inspiration, but it also, when I kind of reflect on it, like you've been practicing, is it good 4, 5 years now?
I think it's three, maybe. I lost track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been, yeah, very committed. You're always very much getting involved when you're in a training, and you've done lots of different offerings, and you also been applying this in your business, especially family, and you've got a rich background coming from Serbia, and yeah, there's just many things I imagine we can discuss, and I want to see what just kind of emerges here between us.
Well, I'm most alive is actually how I shifted through this journey.
Mm.
And for some time, even before I got into circling transformational connection, I tried different things. I tried different courses, but once when I heard about circling, I was like so much called without really knowing what I'm called to. And
Mm.
as you know, I joined SAS even without having any trial practice. We just had that call that turned from 15 minutes to 1 hour or something where you shaken me out like, what is he talking about? But it feels curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it's good you mentioned that. When I was thinking about our time together, I was like, that first call was quite epic for me as well. Like they can be deep, just, it's a half an hour call we have with people that are interested in the course, and I like doing them. It's a good way to connect with people, and it's a first contact. But with you, we had quite an energy because, and I think it was 90 minutes we ended up being on the call. And I
Hmm.
think I think what happened for me was I could resonate with you so much, and you were asking me questions that I wanted to answer. And I was like, but something in me was telling me like I couldn't quite answer it. And so we were in this kind of, you're like, come on, aren't you gonna answer my
Yeah, tell
questions?
me. Yeah.
And I'm trying to say like I want to, but something's happening here that catches my attention. And we were in quite a tension, I think, for a bit there. But then something shifted, I think, in both of us, and we had a very kind of heartfelt conversation. It became very real. Um, that was my experience.
Yes, I think it was very unusual for me. I was asking questions about the course and I was not getting any answers. And you shared your feelings and sensations. And I'm like, huh? Like, what do I do with this? Is like, here we go, the course. Well, I feel like your intuition was spot on. It was exactly what I needed to, like, oh, there is something here for me. I don't know what, but I'm so drawn to find out. And that was an online SAS that I joined.
Mm. Yeah, and what was that journey like for you? Because from that beginning, which was was it more of that, or did you already get a feel for like this way of being?
Uh, well, I think what was the most interesting, I wasn't aware about so many things about me. I couldn't feel at the time, and I didn't know I couldn't feel. I
Mm.
just became someone very intellectual and driven. And then through the 6 month journey, I noticed week after week as we had sessions, I was shifting when I sit down for our session. I was more present. And as well, being in a group of other people and having some reflections, I started to see some of my patterns I was not aware of, like
Mm.
taking responsibility or maybe just to say a joke. I think you were asking me how I feel, and I was not able to hear that question. I was answering, oh, this is useful. And you're like, how do you feel? And I'm like, well, I learned something. And I just couldn't, yeah, Yeah. I have
Yeah.
lots of memories. Yeah, lots of memories.
Yeah, well, I think what you're talking to there, I just recently like been writing about transformational boundaries, like the boundaries we create in our experiences and in our communication with others. And one thing that's become even more obvious to me is how here we are together and there's like the words we're saying, the content we're sharing, and that's kind of external, that's like out here. But then we've got this whole inside that's like happening in here. And actually, to truly experience in here, we have to have some kind of self awareness or contemplation or insight or felt sense. And so it seems a lot of what we're practicing and what you're talking to is that journey from like not just being aware of the external, but like including skillfully the internal.
Yeah, very, very unaware. I'm almost sad
Mm.
as you speak to that. Like I was not aware how unaware I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was lots of material to come through, which happened over the last 3, 4 years. Yeah, very happy I stepped on this journey. It made me such a different person. I finally love myself. I appreciate myself. Yeah, when I joined, I was just not good enough. I was like trying to be better all the time without being aware that I don't feel like worthy anyhow. So it's quite a shift because I'm quite an intensive practitioner, if I may say. Like anything I get into, like I've done all surrender leadership weeks. And just before the call, I was noting like every week brought a big pattern to show
Mm.
up and to leave me after that. So quite a lot to share, but I'll pause.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you say about the, like, you weren't aware of what you weren't aware of, like in your inner experience, it reminds me also of my early kind of journey as well, where I remember I was doing a training and I had to work with a psychotherapist, and it was like, yeah, I'm willing to work with a psychotherapist if it's for a training, but then I was like, yeah, I wouldn't need it for me. Like, there was already a vulnerability that any sense of needing something for me or inside of me was kind of almost a sign of a weakness or an illness or something like that. And now it's just like, no, that's just so human for me. And like anyone who's going to go inside is going to go on a journey and it's going to touch so much in them. And what you described there of like the shame or the unworthiness, for me, that's just inevitable. If you're going to go inside, you're going to find where,
Mm.
yeah, that kind of shame on some level.
And what's interesting as you share your journey, I think the way I was coming into everything I do is like, what's wrong about me? Let me dig deeper. Let me find all the faults. Let me improve myself all the time. And that was my angle in to finally, after all this time, realize like I'm fine as I am. There is nothing to fix or improve anymore.
Mm,
Like, it was like from what I don't have to like I have everything I need. So it was quite, I feel so content. I mean, there's still life challenges, big life challenges, but I'm more content, I'm more stable, I'm more present, I'm more connected with me and the world and people around me. And yeah, I'm quite happy for everything that came through. And I'm not
mm.
seeking anymore like, okay, what else is there to fix? I'm just going to connect and, touch my heart and other people's hearts. So it's a very different place I'm now. Yeah.
Wow. And what can you remember some like important milestones of coming to that
Yeah.
place?
Well, I have a long list. But I think I want to speak to the first week, the first Surrender Leadership Week. It was after 1 year since I started SAS and then Circling Coaching. I felt so small, and I haven't realized I felt so small until the end of the week.
Mm,
And just that week was a big journey from someone coming like, okay, I'm not embodied, I don't have a contact with myself, all these people are great. And literally my body is like, and then through the week, I was like, okay, I do know some things. Oh, I know this. Oh, yeah, I have something to say. And what was funny is like, at that point, I'm leading business, I don't know how many, 15 years. So I come from the event and I speak to my life and business partner. I'm like, I'm a leader. And he's like, yes, of course you are. You're leading business for 15 years. But I never felt as a leader. I was like struggling in my life. And that
Mm,
first week was a big shift because finally I felt like, oh, there is something good in me.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a realization, imagine, because if we do the practice sincerely, we actually need to look like what's the truth, not like try to find that it's positive or it's a it's just like what's actually there. And that's quite a leap of faith, but it's often we're we can discover actually there's something inherently worthy or alive or beautiful in us.
Hmm. Yeah. I just feel your words now. Worthy, beautiful in us. Lots of things.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think that's not obvious. Like I don't I think when I look around the world, I don't see that it's everyone's had that realization of like really looking, being willing to get that feedback from others, and then coming to the place of like, oh, I'm actually okay. Like
Well, what keeps coming to mind as we speak, Sean, is power of relational practice. Because before that, I was doing, I had coaching sessions, I had consultants, and there was something about when you work with someone who is like bigger and better than you, if I may say, it reinforced this pattern of being small because
mm,
authority is out there. And actually, as I shifted to relational practice and I was with peers, like it felt so different. Something shifted there a lot. Like suddenly people were joining me in my world and sharing their world. It was not like someone telling me what to do. And one of the other things that comes as I speak is like I realize because I always had this like I am wrong because I'm a perfectionist from the way I was raised. I realize like, oh, if I speak about how I feel, I cannot be wrong there. So that gave me an anchor of like
yeah,
something opened up really. Yeah, that
yeah,
first.
yeah. It reminds me because there's often in kind of spiritual kind of I don't know movements or kind of when people talk about spirituality, they can say things like, "Oh, you everything's perfect as it is." But I think if that's shallow, it's like it's not really looking at what's here and like, you know, tell someone who's really suffering from, an illness or someone's just passed away that everything's perfect as it is.
Mm, yeah.
I actually think that perfection is what you're sharing. Like if I actually just find what I know is true in me, it's just what I feel, and that actually might not be comfortable or difficult, but the fact that it's real and it is in me, that's where the perfection is. And I don't know what it's going to do, and it's not necessarily going to make things comfortable or perfect in a material way, but it will feel like an alignment or a deeper knowing or something.
Yeah. It's about connecting to myself, which I was not able to before. I started to connect with myself and touch
Mm,
places inside and honor them, actually. That's what comes up. And another thing that was coming up as you spoke is about as I started to find these things, I had peace with them. So for me, it's like peacefulness and ease and feeling more complete, feeling more whole, like accepting hard things. I mean, I still get drawn to fix things and, but there is so much more peace.
mm.
It quite a layered, yeah, as I said, like every week brought another layer. So
Yeah.
layers. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. No, another layer.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Just seeing you pause before you spoke there. Imagine you were going inwards. Made me curious. Like, do, is there a way you normally like to start to get in more in touch with what's happening inside of you?
Mm. I I started to touch my heart and feel my heart. And that's one of the things that happened through the practice. Like I started to open my heart, not just to feel, but just to even cry. And I speak about crying in business meetings and, crying just when I feel something out there. Um,
Mm.
an ability to pause and speak my truth, as you said earlier. I would not dare before to say I don't like something. That was one of the weeks when I was able to say, I don't like this. I don't want this. Oh, that was big. Like I'm a people pleaser, you know?
Mm.
So, and I'm noticing I'm slowing down as we speak. It's almost like I was coming in the call excited and a little bit tense, and now I'm slowly,
Mm.
settling in our conversation. And I think
Yeah.
your energy is helping as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What I hear then is there's like a mindfulness or a kind of becoming aware, and especially of your heart. I wonder what that's like. Like, what's it like to feel your heart?
Ah, it's so expansive as you now invite me into this. It's like, ooh, feels so big. Um, and open. And over time, I realized I was carrying this guard as I was criticized a lot when I was young. Um, I could not even receive a compliment. I could not receive anything because there was a constantly guard. And
Mm.
in the practices, I was looking for people criticism. And then when someone said, I always appreciated you, Sanya, I was like confused. Confused. And I realize I'm holding these guards to keep me safe from what's coming
Mm.
my way. And that slowly melted. So my heart can really come online.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what comes your end now, but I feel like I'm in my body and there is something so expansive,
Yeah,
really powerful. Yeah.
yeah, I feel presence, and yeah, when I feel my heart, it's subtle. It's just like there's a there's a sense of just presence or awareness. And actually there's quite a lot of space, and it would be easy, I think, like before I was doing the practice regularly, I would have thought that space was disconnection. But now it's like, no, that's the space that's kind of inside of me.
Yeah.
And just trust that if I'm touching that, that there will be more of a heartness or something in my presence, or and there's a little bit of an ache as well. But I like feeling the ache because it feels like it's
Mm.
connected to something.
I'm realizing I haven't had a conversation with anyone about how it feels when you feel your heart. And it's so different. I feel so full and like dense when I'm in my heart.
Mm.
There is no ache. There is just, yeah, I just feel power. Oh,
When
yes.
you share that, I get a real sense of my physical heart as well. Like it's just pumping, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of energy there.
Mm. And it's leading the way. It's now leading the way. It's leading my life, is leading the business, is leading my steps. Um, I kept speaking about invisible hand leading me with things that come to my life and synchronicities. But it's almost like I was reading Jung about Jung's life yesterday, and he spoke about soul and he spoke about his soul. Because again, I keep looking for external authorities all the time. No, it's in me. It's like my soul and my heart.
Yeah.
Like they know where I'm going. And I feel very open. not just open heart, open to things that life comes my way. And there was a few weeks ago where I felt no fear. I felt like so safe and so trusting and so open. And that felt so powerful. I
Mm.
was so energized. And my son said, he's 17, can I have something that whatever she's on? Because I mean, no, like no fear, knowing, everything is
Yeah.
okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you share that, I'm just like sometimes there can be a realization like that, like oh, I'm not feeling fear, but like if you haven't had that experience before, it's hard to describe it because it's like we can have a feeling or a sense in our experience. It's always there, like a subtle alertness or a subtle sense, like you said, a guard some kind of, some people, I imagine it's more angry or, yeah, for me, I had a lot, which was maybe what you touched on earlier, like a continual seeking for something deeper or to resolve something. But then when something like that relaxes, it's like you said, it's like being on a drug almost because suddenly there's a new possibility. Or
Yeah. Ah. And from what you shared before, I didn't have fear. I didn't feel fear, but I had lots of fear. It was suppressed and I was acting from it. I was controlling, I was moving, I was directing. And this, like not feeling fear, is different. It gives peace and it gives trust and it gives timelessness
Mm.
somehow. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's when you said that, it clarified something for me actually that often when I'm like in the practice with people and we're exploring what's present and they say they feel fear, often I'm like, and if I check with them, I'm like, yeah, how do you know there's fear there? Or like, what's, and often they don't know. And it's like, it's more often it's just a sense, or it's like, or it's inferred because there's some kind of alertness or
yeah,
smallness. And what you said about it, yeah, it's suppressed. So you're being impacted by it, but it's not in your awareness. So yeah, that's quite an experience to kind of wake up out of that.
yeah. And at some point 2 years ago, I started to feel fear for the first time.
Mm.
And it helped me to connect with it more and more. It still doesn't happen very often. Um, yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about this even. I'm maybe celebrating all these new feelings and sensations, often being touched or being sad or being feeling fear.
Yeah.
Um, and what else came up with all of that? Like courage to speak about that. I'm quite proud now of these moments when I share I don't know what's the word. It's not vulnerability, it's not weakness. It's like my inner experience that's not easy. Like at the Integral Conference, when they said, come on, show up, show up. And I was like, this is my show up here. I'll show up. I gone to the stage and all I spoke was how hard it is to be there. And my voice is shaking. And this is, so there is something in me that wants to show all of me now.
Yeah.
Like everything is welcome. And I
Mm.
almost like I'm noticing it's not like I want to be an example, but I'm noticing I give permission to others in business, especially in my team. Like, if I don't know what's the way, like everyone is more and more relaxed about speaking their truth, not just desperately trying to move forward and fix. Sorry, a long share that I can go on for a long time.
Yeah. Well, it actually brings me back because you said that earlier about one way you're coming into contact with your inner world is speaking the truth that you find there.
Yeah,
And that sounds like your example because there you are in an integral conference, which can be full of very experienced kind of therapists, professional people, spiritual teachers, and actually, it seemed like in your being called to speak up, you actually just brought what was in you
yeah,
and trusted that. It would have been easy to try and be clever with like external things and
Yeah.
things you've achieved or things that you think people want to hear, but it sounded like you really went for like what was there in you.
And as you speak about it, and I spoke earlier, there is some beauty about honoring what's there, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember again, like the very early days of learning about this practice. And it wasn't even a practice then, it was more like some people experimenting and I was like, oh, what are they doing? Because I get so touched when they speak. Like, and now I know, yeah, they were being able to put words to their inner experience and share it in a way that's not kind of projecting it on others or it's just like a skillful way of just sharing what's there, which has to come from a genuine acceptance or trust in your inner experience. And what a journey it was for me to like slowly do that and slowly wake up to all the ways I couldn't do that, and which
Yeah.
helped me go towards the acceptance.
Yeah, when you speak to that, I found as I was very intellectual and I've done all these programs, internal family systems as well. They spoke about like if we have a very strong intellectual part, it can put a shadow on everything else because it has to be clever and stay clever. And then I realized like how much, I don't know, not effort, but how doomed I am. I was all about intellectual. That was my sense of being was knowing, and yeah, so it was quite a deep shift I had to make. But you know, all those informations, everything I heard on the journey, and you know, when you speak about inner experience, constant invite into practice. You know, what's in your world, how does it feel, what's in your body, other people sharing their body sensations. There is no other way that all this would come through than through
Yeah,
constantly being in the practice and
yeah,
open to that.
yeah. And what you say, it's yeah, that important part of receiving others in their inner experience, and that can be uncomfortable too and challenging if someone suddenly realizes they're feeling angry around you or hurt or and they really bring it, it's like, whoa, that can have a lot of impact.
Yeah. And then being on a journey through controlling that or justifying that and just like, wow, I can feel your anger. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one thing I'm really interested with you, because what stood out from the beginning is you are an entrepreneur and your business is not a small business. Well, I mean, if you compare it to a big tech company, it might look small, but for it's a fairly significant business. And yeah, you've been running that while being on this inner journey. And yeah, I wonder if there's anything you want to share about how that's been, like, yeah, as you gradually kind of came more inward.
Yeah. Well, the first thing to name is actually running the business was something that got me on this journey of connecting to myself because I struggled a lot. I struggled in client conversations with authorities, controlling and micromanaging my team. So the business was source and something that got me here to find myself. And as I started circling and I was able to pause, yeah, I had a number of parallel journeys actually. There was a circling. I've done a number of coaching courses with Coaches Rising. I had business consultants as well, and there was a quite a lot different workshops too. So I just want to pause to see what wants to come because as you ask me, there is a vast of information.
Yeah. Yeah, and just as you feel into that, I'll just yeah remind listeners that yeah, Transformational Connection was formerly circling, which is how it was when you started. If anyone didn't know that.
I think what comes up is like as I was slowing down and becoming more open, that's it. I started to become more open to information coming my way. My heart was more open and I could connect with clients. I
Mm.
was starting to notice a body language. And one of the things I found in this practice is like I had before avoidant pattern. And then I
Mm.
started to notice that. And over time, when I'm in conversation with client, I noticed in their body language, they'd look down, their voice gone different. And I started to go to that place.
Mm.
So what started to happen, I would say, oh, can we pause? What's happening? I even would name like, are you angry with us? Or like, I'm noticing discomfort. Is it something I said? So that really started to open magic for, all these things people would usually suppress because you don't bring this
Mm.
in this meeting. You speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the most transformational. And I'll pause there before another piece of gold.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like just being aware of these subtle moments has had a big impact rather than kind of brushing it away. There's also something just when I said like being more inwards, because actually the practice does two things. It does make us more aware what's inside, but it also, what you've been sharing, it also has an emphasis on showing up. So it's not just about contemplation, it's can you bring what's in you really into the world, like really lead and have impact on people and speak your truth.
Yeah. I'm smiling, and that's now a big part of this show up here. But if we go there, I feel we are jumping 3 steps ahead,
Yeah,
10
yeah.
steps ahead.
Let's go back to the other step.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I actually started to enjoy it because you start having information that we started to innovate quite a lot in the business. I found the theory U. I don't think we ever spoke about that, Sean. And for
a
me,
little. Yeah,
yeah, for me, it's a big thing because the theory U is creating from emerging future. And it's called because of shape of the U. At the bottom of the U, you're touching this place of like openness and lostness and like not knowing the way and just being honest with yourself and everyone there. And then something shifts. And I think this is where the heart is leading us forward. So as I spoke about parallel journeys, one was like opening my heart, my being, and noticing and
mm,
connecting with the world around and in, and another one doing innovation courses and applying theory U together with all of that. So now there is this exciting, like holding a space for higher intelligence to emerge.
yeah,
I really see myself there. And like, if there is a problem in business now, invite the team, invite the clients, let's have a conversation, third party, everyone come in, bring this, let's share. And, everyone is now drawn to that way of being in the business, even clients.
mm,
So it's quite a big impact and it's a ripple effect on, my team lives and the families and the clients' teams. And I even don't know how far I reach.
yeah,
With this new way of being. Yeah. And when I
yeah,
say I, it's not me, Sanya, is whatever vessel I'm for, which I would like to say I feel drawn to bring more love and care in business and more connection. So that's what I started to speak to in
mm,
podcast on the stage. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. How's that to say that now?
I think I got carried away and excited, and I couldn't feel myself as I was speaking.
Mm.
But sometimes I feel it's not even me speaking, the words just come. I even don't know what I said, Sean, honestly.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's the same experience you had, like you spoke about earlier, where you didn't realize you weren't feeling yourself, or if it's actually more like you got into a bit of a flow state.
Yeah, yeah. And whatever it is, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It became a journey of discovery, really, of joy of discovery and getting into unknown. and looking for what's there to emerge.
And do you have an example? Because I loved hearing about like when there's maybe an issue or a challenge that you bring people in, and
Mm,
then it sounds like you go into a place of presence where there's like a willingness to go to the bottom of the you
yeah.
into the unknown, which is really like to me the gateway to the deeper inner world. Like if you really want to discover what's in you, you have to be willing to go into the unknown and have your identity be shaken, possibly.
There are a number of business examples, and I spoke about that separately. But what I'm most called to something that was very transformational for me this year, which is difficulties with my dad, who, being old and depressed, or maybe even dementia, we don't know, become our relationship became very edgy and very hard, not really physical, but very verbally aggressive. And that happened at the beginning of this year. And, I observed myself over a month going through different stages of being angry or controlling to being curious, especially when I left Serbia and I had some space and distance, like really feeling into what's happening for him, what's happening for me. I actually realized that he's lonely.
Hmm.
He doesn't have capacity and awareness to say that, and he's attacking me from a place of helplessness. And that opened my heart deeper to love him in that difficulty, love both of us in the difficulty. And somehow through that, and I needed help, and I had some even little shamanic journey. Through different fears I have about our family properties and what might happen with that, I got in touch with, like through a sentence that came to me, "You're stealing from me." I get in touch with my past where communists taken our wealth and my very uh, brave and famous, like on the father line family. So I connected with leadership in my family. We
Hmm.
spoke about me being little. Like I spoke to people leading armies in the winter and having medals from, you know, different countries and like
Hmm.
that happened. And as I speak about this now, number of times, it's losing its power. Like I'm just sharing a story. I'm not really feeling the story as I would want to. But that difficulty and that challenge got me to like feel that leadership in my veins and want to like
Hmm.
lead to something, the business world. I still don't know what to,
Hmm.
but I'm open. Yeah.
I feel impact hearing it. I was surprised to hear you didn't feel it because you've been sharing it quite a bit. But there's a really subtle feeling it. I feel presence, feel touched. And there's a slight feeling of like subtle disorientation or like lostness or something as well. Or dizzy, slightly dizzy somehow.
I'm now with how I feel, and I'm still a little shaky.
Mm.
Hmm.
It sounded like a big deal, like it's your father and he's unwell. And then there was tension and you found this deeper sense of loneliness that helped you connect. But then you went deeper yourself and then saw like, oh yeah, I've been in a culture where it felt like, yeah, a system that takes from you your wealth. Like these don't feel like small things to kind of take in.
Yeah. And realizing that I suddenly gone back to my life and I could see how a number of things happened in my life to get me on this journey. Like this connecting with ancestors was the final one because many of the key things didn't happen by my choice, like the way I left Serbia after bombing, where I met a wealthy man in the UK and he showed me like how it is to have a wealthy life. Like I had very little when I lived in Serbia. My family had, but I didn't have. And this is like I'm coming very small to the UK. And then like he showed me the wealth and I had a good job and money. And then I met Lyndon, who is entrepreneur. And through him, I started to become a businesswoman. And now, with this difficulty with my dad, I gone into connecting with leadership in my family, big leadership in my family, you know? And like, oh, all of this is happening to get me on this journey. And, I've been joking about I want to be a president of Serbia, something is driving me to bring feminine leadership there. That feels such a distant thing. But like something's been, my soul's been leading me without me knowing. And
Hmm.
now I'm like, okay, something is like, I don't know where I'm going and it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, if you think of the early days where you're like, oh, I don't even know if I know what I'm feeling, to now having taken the steps you've taken to being like, it seems like my soul might be leading me to
Oh,
something quite impactful. And and the yeah, the experiences of lineage, I've had some of those again recently. I've had them periodically, and I've not come towards. I think there are some approaches that explicitly like try to open us to our lineage. Like to me, it just came through exploration, and it's very practical in one sense. Like it's my family, but even in the recent festival, someone noticed there was like a REF button on my shirt, which I was just like, I hadn't, I picked this shirt out 15 years ago. I always thought it was a bit quirky, but I liked it. Black shirt. You probably see me in that black shirt many times. And, but yeah, so someone just recognized, yeah, and, and kind of the way he recognized, uh, yeah, Aubrey is like, it kind of hit me. So I kind of took it in. I was like, oh yeah, REF. Like I've been listening to a lot of, like learning a lot about the military the last 4 or 5 years. And then I was like, oh, my grandfather, he was in the RAF during the Second World War. And I've never fully taken that in. So I knew it, but hadn't like grasped the significance of it. And here I am learning about these unbelievable dangerous situations that men and women go into in war. And yeah, it's a complex issue, but I actually get a sense of there's an unbelievable bravery that is there as well. And these that there are real causes sometimes that brave people put their lives on the line for. And there was my grandfather,
mm,
and it's so impactful.
yeah.
And it sounds like you had something similar with this, like, oh, my family's had a history of like being quite high profile in Serbia.
Yes, I'm still with your story and your discovery and the joy from you connecting with your lineage. And I almost feel my great grandfather hand on my back, like I feel he holds me.
Mm.
I see my hand is up. And as you share your story, like what I still don't know what it means to connect, but I feel more solid. And I think this not feeling fear comes as a part of like this trust, like I'm extended. I'm not just this body, I'm extended energetically somehow. And
Yeah.
like my lineage and me, we are here to do something, like it continues, Maybe when we speak again in a couple of years, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems so energetically so powerful to really connect to. Even I remember being in tears, like feeling my mother, my father, my and grandfather. It was less my grandfather actually, but I could really feel like, oh, they birth a new generation and they've got to hold the line. Like they've got to, like the challenges of the age they're in, they're always significant and like difficult, and it's easy to judge from like when you're looking back, but imagine being in the Second World War when the culture was where it was, and my grandfather and grandmother just held and allowed my mother to be born, and that allowed me to be born, and now I've got a daughter and another one on the way, and it's like now it's my and I can feel that like that sacred obligation now to be to create the
Yeah.
platform for the next generation.
And as you speak to that, something about connection comes. Like as I'm connecting with myself, I'm connecting with people differently, and I'm connecting with my ancestral. And so it's like a web of, yeah, different layers. Yeah, I'm very much, I know we are at the end, but I'm very much into energetic these days. Like there is no more cognitive needs, but it's almost like noticing how we energetically impacting one another, and how am I energetically attracting things to my life. Like I speak to something and it happens. So that's where I am these days, and there is excitement about like how it works.
Yeah, that's similar for me. It's like having done a lot of the deep inner kind of trauma integration, embodiment, feeling, communication. Now it seems more like seems like the stepping out of the the learned kind of survival. The world's dangerous. I'm not. I've got too many limitations, or in stepping into like what seems just more true. That there's so much opportunity. There's so much possibility of transformation, and there's so much connection.
And I remember the guard we spoke about that was guarding me, keeping me safe. It was guarding everything else to come to my life. All of this was not possible when the guard was up.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm celebrating is not up anymore.
Well, I'm really enjoying this flow with you, and it would, yeah, would be great to have more time. But I
Yeah.
wonder just in this last few minutes, is there anything you'd like to share to people, yeah, about this journey, this practice?
Mhm.
Uh,
What's most alive is I changed relationship to myself, and all my relationships changed. And power of relational practice and insights from starting to see things and myself and others differently. And I think this like flow and dynamic with other people and finding all these parts I lost and integrated slowly brought lots of peace. Yeah. So there is no more seeking. You spoke about seeking. There is no more seeking now. Is like just receiving whatever I'm ready for. It comes my way. Yeah. I feel joy when I say goosebumps.
just finding now.
Yes. And actually being found, things find
Mm.
me. I don't even need to go look.
Mm.
Yeah. That's what I'm learning.
Mm. Well, it's very nice to be with you, Sanya, and yeah,
Thank you.
it's been wonderful for me, especially considering that beginning. That was like I was like, surely this person's not going to do the training if this very strange first phone call. But it seemed like we were establishing something deeper, and you just kept going the whole like
Yeah.
this. I'm sure it's maybe what's it 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I'm just smiling. I remember when I certified, it was a surprise for John and me and everyone. I keep surprising myself and others, I think, on this journey. And we had our own journey, two of us, and our little challenges, and me challenging authorities without knowing. So it's beautiful just to speak about our journey. It was beautiful connecting with you more and more, and, like really feeling love for you now, Sean. And your
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Well, just to share on that, like I had a big opening. I think this. this last 5, 6 years for me has been all about boundaries. And the main boundary for me is always respecting the kind of the unfolding of the other one's inner world. And when I've got these capacities I've developed to see into or to kind of encourage others to see deeper, there can sometimes what I start to learn is there can sometimes be like a danger of me going over a line there, like taking too much responsibility on how deep someone goes into their experience. And that came up with you. And I think what you shared, where you were getting in touch with the guard, I remember being in one of the earlier sessions and there was this impulse to kind of challenge the guard or help you see the guard and then I was like, hang on a second, what am I doing here? And I could feel there was like and I was like, oh, I don't need to do that. Like if Sanya wants me to help her see something or she'll come to me, like I don't need to kind of actively go and do it. And I just kind of leant back and yeah, I never, I never needed to do anything. You just went on your own journey and yeah, sometimes we would connect, but it seemed like there was more trust between us when I could, yeah, when I found a deeper layer of that boundary, yeah, to not need to push if I'm sensing something or yeah, a sense of going with, from your timing more.
Yeah. And every time you shared something, it impacted me. I started to see through your shares. And as you say, maybe they came from a place of just wanting to share your experience rather than, wanting me to see something which I can get caught into easily. But I just want to share. It came its way to me, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was so nice to be able to share things without that kind of, I need to do something here energy.
Uh, Untangled. That's one of the things I wanted to speak about today. I'm feeling so much untangled from so many things around me. So just maybe close. Yeah, celebrating that. Thank you. Thank you for today too.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for making time. I know there's a lot happening with your father and your business, and I appreciate you, yeah, coming to connect. And
Pleasure.
all the best with those challenges and
Yeah.
becoming Prime
Yeah.
Minister of Serbia.
Even female president one day. We'll see.
President, cool.
I'm not stopping now. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, big love.
Bye bye, Sean. Bye.